Hello, investors. This is Ted Zhang, Associate Portfolio Manager with Revere Asset Management. Today is Tuesday, October 8th, 5:08 p.m. Coming to you from Virginia, actually, today with tonight's Revere Roundup Daily Market Insight video. So, state of the market, we're still in the uptrend. All four bullish green arrows. Market leaders are acting stellar. Short term, we're above the 21 EMA. Medium term, uh, S&P and NASDAQ above the 50, as well as above the 200-day moving average. Four green up arrows means GROTECTION is operating under the mandate of growing assets. So what happened today? Bulls defend a key support level once again, the same support level we've been touting the last few weeks, the 5670 area plus or minus 15 points, and indexes are seeking breakouts, and we'll go over the S&P, NASDAQ, F&GS, and other indices as well. So what happened today? 21 over 21 list up 1.44%, 17 up, one sideways, three down. So leaders were excellent today. Big eight were the leaders uh, of the entire market, dragging up and causing the NASDAQ, the Qs, to lead over the equal weighted indexes. The big eight were up 1.86%, RGA up 0.68%, S&P up 0.96%, equal weighted RSP or S&P RSP up 0.24%, Qs up 1.49%, QQEW up 0.87%, Dow up 0.37%, and mid caps and small caps were laggards today, up only 0.04% and 0.19% respectively. Global 60/40 equities bonds up 0.2%, and then GROTECTION up about 1.49%. Jumping right into the charts, starting off with the S&P 500. As we talked about it on the podcast and daily videos, let's just keep it simple. We draw this line across these tops, one top, two top, and this breakout level here about this 50, pretty much 5670 level. And as we said, above the line is good, below the line is bad. But what's even better is now the 21 EMA has cut up to this level and is actually above it. And we've found support all against this area on this day, this day, this day, yesterday. And we continue the bounce um, and really build out this consolidation and this high handle on top of this base. And so after today, we're above previous high of the day of yesterday, and we're really flirting with last Friday's highs. Clear that, and maybe if we go on a 60-minute, we can look at this range better. Draw a downtrend line. We're just about breaching it. We follow through tomorrow. I would say that's an official breakout on the S&P 500. And just gotta keep it simple. Some of the hardest things to do in this world is to see everything as simple as possible. I'll just quote Einstein real quick when he says, "We want to simplify everything as much as possible, but not anything simpler." And that is what we're trying to do here at Revere. Going on to the RSP, just really great action as well. S&P led today because the mega caps led, but we're still finding support at the 21 EMA, building this nice flag here. Breakout of this flag, we can go on the 60-minute and expect higher prices. Qs was the leader today because of tech. We're back above this 822 level that I've been talking about. It's been quite frustrating the last few days, up and down, but it's really built a nice chi area now. Really solid pivot point above these clean and simple flat tops. And this actually looks real for once. And let's see if we get some follow through. The next level I'm looking at is this level here. Perhaps we come up, build another range, and then we break out, and that would be another place that you could add on to your position if you have one. The Dow, similar to the RSP, finding support at the 21 EMA, still above 42,000. Great action there. Mid cap's definitely lagging a bit, but this is doing exactly what we talked about at Revere. V-shaped recovery off the 200-day. And then I said that we needed to build a sideways range, which we are getting now. And it's a really nice handle. 2 weeks now. Perhaps we finish this week building this handle, double inside week, and taking this area out would be really good for the markets and breadth. Russell, even weaker than mid caps, kind of drifting off here, but still really building a nice downtrend line, nice bull flag. And back above 2200, then I would look for 22 59, and then 2300. So let's see if we can get a market firing on all cylinders. We still haven't seen that yet. Still so many disconnects, and it's a very selective market, but that's what we excel at, picking the leaders. Volatility index. Nice to see that come off, rejecting this 2376 area. We would really like to see the VEX head below 20, and like what I said, ideally back below 15 into this 10 to 15 range, which presents really nice grinding uptrends in easy dollar environments. But as Connor pointed out in yesterday's video, during the election time, there's uncertainty around the hurricane, Middle Eastern wars, conflicts, geopolitical tensions with Russia, just a whole slew of factors that have created uncertainty and more volatility. So this could stay elevated until after the election. Dollar starting to build a sideways consolidation um, with rates as well. This looks like we could retest the 200-day moving average. Um, so we'll see what happens there with the dollar. Gold, pretty big pullback. Found support at 21 EMA so far, but definitely a distribution day coming in on gold. GDX, weaker than gold. Putting the hammer on the 50-day, but the 8 EMA is about to cross below the 21 EMA. Um, Silver, pretty big move down. Failed breakout, double top, and now we see a gap down. Distribution day as well. And as they say, from failed moves comes fast moves. Bitcoin, IBIT, we'll go over to the trading view Bitcoin chart. And this range continues to build. We continue to reject this downtrend line. So we'll just have to see how this range builds. Obviously, within a range, there's a lot of frustrations from the bulls and the bears. Clearing the 66,500 level will be key, then 70,000, 72, and finally 74. And bonds pretty much collapsed with yields heading higher after last week's stronger than expected inflation report. Tomorrow we have FOMC minutes, Thursday CPI, and Friday PPI. So those would be important as well. And TLT pretty much same picture. And as always, yields are rising with the dollar as bonds fell off. All right, so on to the tail of the tape as always. Some things to note. NASI RSI still down. Dollar pretty much sideways today. Yields down as well. We'd like to see the VIX come down a bit, now minus 5.21%. CNN fear and greed, though, did rise 5 points to 72, and we almost are in that extreme greed territory. So watching that as a secondary indicator, uh, just to gauge sentiment, and same with AAII and NAM, which will come out in 2 days. Of course, we're still but in the bull case. We're above the 21 EMA and back above the 8 EMA as well, and looking to break out. News, FOMC minutes tomorrow, BPI Thursday, PPI Friday. In today's keys, we're watching this 5671 to 5690 support level, which held once again, and we close at the high of the day, so that looks great. We're watching the Qs cup and handle pivot, which we broke out of, and then VIX versus 20, which we're still above. We did change the day count to consolidation 14, and I'll show why real quick. And that will be actually our Wednesday's keys. So let's quickly go over the rest of the tail of the tape, and I'll show what I mean by that. So we're in 14-day consolidation, starting to emerge out. 1 day back above the 8 EMA, 20 days above the 21 EMA. Expectations are of course, positive. Today, we gapped up 0.46%, put in highs of the day, based, pulled back, and then we put in new highs of the day. And then S&P ATR actually continues to come down. It's actually below 1% now. This has to be updated. Um, and that is obviously a good thing because that means we are presented with a smoother trend, and that leads to less volatility, less shakeouts. And of course, as trend followers at Revere, we love to see that. Strong sectors, bonds were up as bond yields were down. Tech and consumer discretionary were up. Software, cybersecurity, and semis. Dollar was down, or that's pretty much flat. Energy and builders down. China, big move down as stimulus measures weren't as pronounced as people thought. And then solar and commodities down as well. All we did today was trim MSTR, so that brought our beta down to 1.4. Our bottom line is bulls defend key support levels once again, and indexes seeking breakouts. In tomorrow's keys, the S&P uh, resistance level, 5670, or sorry, the S&P range, the consolidation range, 5670, which is support, and then 5767, which is the breakout resistance area. And for the Qs, the equivalent is 478 to 490. And so we'll quickly go over that real quick. What we're talking about is this level right here, and then this. That's the range, that's the consolidation we're in. And above this, and we're headed for new all-time highs, and that's always a great thing. The Qs, we're talking about right here to right here. We're still in that range, so we really do need to get above uh, September 26th highs, and then 500 would be next, and we'll see what happens after that. Today, accumulation day. 2 days ago, accumulation day. So this is looking quite good. Let's go over some charts of interest. NVIDIA, obviously, I've talked about this on the podcast. Break of this level was the first buy point. We emerged out since the 50-day was still declining and flattening. We pulled back in, retested at the 50, and now we ripped up higher, breaking this downtrend line that we've talked about, as well as 130. And now the next area is 136 and finally 141. And at each of these levels, we're looking to potentially buy more of. So we'll see how it builds. I would love to see some sideways action like this, and then more like that to really present additional ad points. MicroStrategy is another name I've been talking about that we own as well. Nice clean and simple level over 150. Then we had a nice other breakout for 180, and now this 200 level will be key. I would love to see a handle build here, take out 200. MSTR has been showing crazy relative strength versus Bitcoin, with Bitcoin still relatively weak, but we're going to trust the price action in this security by itself. CART, just one that we own as well. First cheap pivot was down here and merged quickly out of the IPO base. Then it built a little cap, 12-day cap, formed a beautiful flag, and now we're just emerging into all-time highs actually after today. So that is just amazing. All-time highs after an IPO base breakout is exactly what you want to see. Tesla, of course, over 235, then came up to my 265-ish level. Got rejected quite hard on lesser than expected deliveries. But we're starting to build this little pivot right here, right below 250. We have the robo-taxi event coming up in 2 days and earnings in 15 days. And we're building a nice cup with a handle here on the daily and weekly as well. So two potential catalysts. We'll be looking out for those for add-on buys. And we'll see what happens. As always, the magic elixir for us is liquid, linear trading. For example, this move was linear. This move here was linear. If you go to 2020, 2021, Tesla made linear moves. A stock with previous history of making big moves, of course, technicals plus fundamentals or expectations of future fundamentals, story/theme, and or catalyst. Of course, having all of those is the magic elixir. Upstart today, emerging out of this little pivot after this gap up on earnings, pull back to the 50, some nice VCP characteristics, and this looks great. And then, of course, NASDAQ poking its head out as well. That was buyable here today. It'd still be buyable tomorrow over those highs as well. And finally, S&P 500 across those tops would be buyable. And then finally, FNGS like the Qs was buyable today on huge volume actually as well. So now finally, well, most of the 21 over 21 were up today. So I'll go over maybe 7 to 10 charts that were up, and then the 3 that were down. So we'll quickly go over the down names. Precious metals and commodities were hit today. So FCX gap down from this upper trend line, still above the 21 EMA and this gap highs. So we'll see what happens there. Oil emerged out but fell back in on fears of Hurricane Milton impacting demand. And so those of you in Florida, definitely wish you best of luck. Stay safe. Don's in St. Augustine bracing for the hurricane that's supposed to hit tomorrow. Connor and I coincidentally traveled out from our Fort Lauderdale area, uh, just to visit family. So, I mean, regardless, Fort Lauderdale wasn't supposed to get hit too hard. But anyways, those on the West Coast, hope you stay safe. Definitely, um, good luck. IoT reversal, tried breaking out, still holding pretty much the 8 EMA at 21. Looks great. Now on the upside, Palantir continues to trend above the 8. Huge move up today. It's beautiful action. Cart, our awesome cart, new all-time highs after the IPO base breakout. That is awesome. Kava, another IPO, recent IPO, new all-time highs as well. NVIDIA, talked about that, above 130. 136 is next. MicroStrategies, we talked about that. 200 is next. This re coming down and retesting 180 would be completely normal action. I would love to see something like that. Coherent, great action as well. Continues to float higher. Oracle, post-gap earnings above this flag high. Uber, great action as well. Pulled back, found support at the 21 EMA and poking its head back above. This will be a key level, and then this area right there. Browse farmers market is just a linear uptrend, one of the best uptrends you could possibly imagine. Just look at this thing. Trends above the 10-week just perfectly and just forms Darvis boxes along the way. And this is honestly a model book type stock. Then finally, I'll go over Tesla, building a cup with handle on this right side of a huge weekly base and a huge monthly base. So we'll see if Tesla ignites through a catalyst or some expectation of future uh, increased acceleration in revenues and earnings. But until then, it's still in a range, still dormant. Let's see if something can get it started. And so you can see leaders are acting well, indexes are acting well. There's a lot of uncertainty in geopolitics, macro, election, but we follow price first and we let the markets guide us in our decisions. As always, that's going to wrap it. We'd love to hear from you. My email is ted@revereasset.com. Hold on, let me bring up this page. My email is ted@revereasset.com. My Twitter is TedHZhang. You can also contact us by phone, 855-REAL-WEALTH, and that is 855-732-5932. Our website is Revere Asset Management, and our YouTube is Revere Asset. Again, we named our flagship portfolio GROTECTION with a dual mandate to protect assets in downtrends and grow assets in uptrends. You can see we have 4 bullish up arrows, which means we're operating under the mandate to grow assets. If you're interested in becoming a client, please reach out. Please like, subscribe, and comment as that helps us on YouTube as well. This is Ted Zhang with Revere Asset Management, telling it like it is. Thank you for listening and have a great rest of your week.